am back with another informative video to help educate, inspire, and provide options to you. So today's topic, we are going to talk about reflexology and acupressure. And this is coming from this book by Janet Wright. I'm going to just read a little bit of the history, just give you a little background, right? So it says, energy medicine is part of a rich healing tradition that has developed into various forms and at various times around the world. We have no way of telling whether travelers took the knowledge and practices of energy medicine from one part of the world to another long before records were made of such movements. However, there is no logical reason either why different cultures should not have developed similar ideas and practices independently. In my practice, I actually do reflexology, and I don't do acupressure as much. I do more neuromuscular, but you know, you're still using pressure to relieve muscles, right? So relevance for today. So as a drug-free hands-on therapy, reflexology and acupuncture are ideal for self-help. They lend themselves to easing both long-term conditions and sudden crises, and are suitable as a supporting complementary backup to orthodox medical treatment or as a first aid where this is relevant. Reflexology and acupressure can also be used to treat friends and family. Two groups of people who can gain particular benefit from these techniques are children and elderly. And that's so freaking true. I, for one, work on my nieces and nephews. Matter of fact, they're used to it at this point because I've been doing it since they were younger. And if something's bothering them, they auntie, right? So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on that. I have some notes, so I won't get off track. But one other thing I wanted to make note is that a lot of times people think alternative medicines are not valid, placebo effect, all this stuff, because you know how science is, right? You have to prove it versus, you know, doing it and it works, period. But it says researchers have found that the effect of many Chinese remedies are recognizable by practitioners of basically medicine today, right? So some of the benefits of acupressure and reflexology is basically to relieve pain. You know, a lot of people don't like taking medicine, so they'll look for alternatives, and these self-healing therapies, they work. Now, each person, just like with anything, may be affected differently. For some it may be quicker, some maybe take a couple treatments. You won't know until you try. It's just like medicine. They may give you ibuprofen, and they may give you, you know, Motrin, and you may say, I don't like that one, but I like this one. So, you know, same thing. So it relieves pain, and it also increases and improves blood flow. Some examples, more systemically, I would say, would be heart disease, respiratory, and that also includes like stuff like asthma. And then for more common stuff, like what I kind of teach my sister to do, some of my family to do, is especially for like common headaches, right? And then muscular pain, back pain, and of course labor pains too. That's one thing that you could actually use while you're going through contractions, for sure. Some people use acupressure or reflexology points for appetite repressants. Some for stimulating energy, like when you're tired. I want to show you what the chart looks like. So most of you may have seen it, may not. But this is the chart for the foot, and if you look really closely, you can see that the bottom of your feet, you have a lot of points that are really associated with your organs. I don't know how close, if this thing is going to zoom in, but on this side you have, let's see, the top of the foot. Not so cute toes. This is the top of the foot up to the ankles. And so for the top, just to point on a few, areas like this is eyes, you know, ears. I'm sorry, I wasn't showing you right. So these, the initial red dots, I'm saying red, black dots here are for the eyes, ears. You have lungs, abdominal area, common ones for the back, of course. People with headaches, you know, the big toe, basically. You can do the head. Sinuses are the tips of the toes. And the same thing, this is the eyes on the back side as well. This is lung area. You have what else? The shoulder pain is by the pinky toe. So pinky, shoulder, because most people do know that this area here is the spine. So looking at your foot, the inside is going to have a lot more of your digestive internal organs, from your neck, your parathyroid, your upper chest, excuse me, thymus, diaphragm, stomach, pancreas, adrenals, kidneys, and uterus, bladder, rectum, and so forth and so on. So what I like to tell people to do is, like, if you actually have a, if you actually have a pain, just go on Google and type in reflexology point 4, boom, reflexology. Or if you don't even know what area it is, just reflexology for the foot, and then press around. Like, so I'll give you a good example. I had some acupuncture one day, and then over the weekend I went to Bed Bath and Beyond, playing with the massage, foot massagers, right? So the chairs, everything. I was just trying them all out. And on the foot, I noticed every time it grinded into a certain part of my foot, it was more hypersensitive. So me, that's the first thing I always do. I always just go ahead and Google so I could see what area it was. And it was my lungs. So right around here, it was pretty much this little area here. It was God, I wish it would zoom in. It would actually be a little bit easier for you to see. Yeah. So anyway, It was the lungs. And so when I got home, I just started, doing some pressure in the area. And when I got to work, I showed the acupuncturist. And so what she was sharing with me is, this is kind of a little bit more advanced, but the lungs hold sadness, the emotion. So a lot of people do know, some people don't, that certain organs hold emotion. So the lungs holds sadness. And so she checked a couple other points and validated that, that area of the lungs was in need of work. So that's one self-check you can do. The other part is, just like you have the foot, there's hands, reflexology as well. And same thing, you can go ahead and look it up to figure out what areas of your hand may be more sensitive than the next. Look at the chart and then do some pressure points. And basically to stimulate it, all you're really doing is, you're just, say, pressing into the area and kind of kneading the area, or sometimes just pressing and holding, letting go, and pressing and holding and letting go. So it's not like it's freaking rocket science or it's hard, you're just pressing into it and letting it go. So the other part of it is, there's also an ear chart. I'm not sure if this book actually teaches you that. I don't think so. Yeah, I think this is more just, yeah. So, so pressing the points in this particular charting has to do with reflexology. So acupuncture, I keep saying acupuncture because I've had acupuncture, but acupressure and acupuncture are pretty much similar. They're following the meridian lines, and the difference is one's with a needle, one's with your hand. So let me read you a little bit from here on the acupressure chapter. So it says, like reflexology, acupressure works on one area in order to affect another, although it follows a different map. This is why it's a difference, right? So the ancient Chinese meridian, I'm reading ahead. The ancient Chinese meridians, rather than the most recent concepts of zones, most of the principles are similar. Over the centuries of Chinese body map has developed into a vast and complex structure working on a number of levels, including the spiritual, as well as the meridians named in this book. There are also 15 collaterals that connect the organ meridians, rather like the escalators between upper ground railroad lines, and 8 extra meridians that store energy. However, this book is meant for simple home treatment, so we are not concerned with the sort of detail that acupuncturists have to master. Of the 22 meridians and 660 pressure points, we will only be using the most valuable and most that are easy to find. An appropriate analogy is undertaking a first aid and self-help course than a medical degree. So I believe this shows you the meridians. So I can show you the, yeah, it does. So it's all about lines. So when they were saying like train tracks, the meridian lines are pretty much from top to bottom. So this, if you can see the red lines on here, those are the meridian lines of the body. And so each meridian number has a different association. Another good example is when I'm working on the inner thighs of most people, it will create an audible sound in their intestines. And everyone always says, oh, I must be hungry. And I have to say, no, I'm just stimulating your intestines and helping you with your digestion. You know, same thing with, there's a part in a person's back when I press on. And I believe that has to do with the lungs too, because it never fails. I press on that area and they just start coughing. Just start coughing out of nowhere. You know, it actually catches them off guard. And I have to just let them know, like, yeah, this is, it happens, you know? So, this, let me see. So this one's a little, I don't know which one would be easier for someone that is just starting off. You know what? I think the reflexology would be easier for most people, because when you're looking at the meridians, they go by numbers and letters. And so that may be a little bit more where you have to concentrate and kind of learn it more so than looking at a picture of a hand, seeing where it is and pressing on it, and helping that area be stimulated. So that wraps up a small intro of reflexology and acupressure. So I'm trying to think, should I show one easy point to do? What would be, is a common area that most people have pain in? Neck and shoulder, or a back would probably be the most common. And I think I'll do the hand because, yeah, I'll do the hand, and I will do, so you can kind of, I ain't gonna lie, I'd be confused myself sometimes. So when it comes to the hand, the foot, the body, basically the same, right? So there's going to be some points on the top, in the front of the hand. There's going to be some that's in the back of the hand, and then some on the sides of the hand. So pinky side is always going to be shoulder. You can kind of look at it that way. And that's the side I'm going to show you. So for shoulder, arm, elbow, knee, hip, and well, we don't need to do ovaries and testes, but oh, I'm gonna get this together, y'all. I'm gonna get this together. So on my right hand, pinky side, basically, the shoulder is about right here. So pressing into this area, you may feel some tender point. If it's tender, then you know that, you know, pretty much here's the joint. You come down a little bit, about right here, and this is the shoulder point for that area. You come down a little bit more towards the outside, like we're edge right here, and this is for the arm, which for me it actually is tender. Come down a little bit more, and you have the elbow a little bit to the inside, like right here. Ooh, that's a little sore for me too. Knee, and then this area right here, about right here. Yeah, it's kind of like the hip area. So the most common, like I said, is shoulder. So you have your pinky, you can kind of start here and come down to the natural groove right here. And this is kind of like where the shoulder area is. And then, you know, you just press and hold it for, I would say you can do it a couple times and throughout the day. And then most people who are actually have a good mind-body connection, they actually can feel when it's pressed to, you know, feel the radiation or the sensation from one area to another. So hope that helps out. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. I have gone on longer than I thought I was going to do. I was going to try to keep it to like 5 or 10 minutes, but I'm long-winded like my daddy. So, see you guys later. Until next time, stay educated, stay inspired, have choices.